And you'll see when you see the video, she can't even pretend to be an agonizing mother. What you want to look for here is an incredible discrepancy between horrific events that she describes and her very, very cool demeanor. And if you look closely, you'll see duping delight throughout this video.
But I could tell he was frightened. Telling me his last name, this is Mark Bingham. Incidentally, he is a big supporter of Senator John McCain. We were very touched by the eloquence of Senator McCain earlier. He is a very patriotic young man, as is his Aunt Kathy. And all of us here, we're very touched by the words of our president. We hope that this horrible set of events will help to bring the American people together. He was not calling from a cell phone, he was calling from the airphone, probably at his seat. He was seated at the back of first class toward the front of the aircraft. It was a pretty light load that day.
Passengers on that plane were able to overwhelm
the
hijackers.
We hope so. We know that Mark was a very active and take-charge guy. He was a large man. It's likely, based on things that we've heard, that he was able to participate in at least thwarting the efforts of these people that took control of the aircraft. I got on the phone, Mark, and he said, "Hi, Mom, this is Mark Bingham." Giving me his last name. And he said, "I want to let you know that I love you." Well, at 6:45 yesterday morning, the phone rang. A friend of the family, Carol Phipps, answered it, ran to get my sister-in-law, Mark's aunt, Kathy. He said to her, "I wanted to let you know that I love you." And Kathy told him, "Well, we love you, Mark."
Okay, now I don't want to alarm anybody in this room, but it's just come to my attention that the person to your right is a liar. Also, the person to your left is a liar. We rehearse our words, but we rarely rehearse our gestures. We say yes, we shake our heads no. We tell very convincing stories, we slightly shrug our shoulders. We commit terrible crimes, and we smile at the delight in getting away with it. Now that smile is known in the trade as duping delight. Now we've talked a little bit about how to talk to someone who's lying and how to spot a lie. And as I promised, we're now going to look at what the truth looks like. And I'm going to show you two videos. Two mothers, one is lying, one is telling the truth. And these were surfaced by researcher David Matsumoto in California. And I think they're an excellent example of what the truth looks like. This mother, Diane Downs, shot her kids at close range, drove them to the hospital while they bled all over the car, claimed a scraggy-haired stranger did it. And you'll see when you see the video, she can't even pretend to be an agonizing mother. What you want to look for here is an incredible discrepancy between horrific events that she describes and her very, very cool demeanor. And if you look closely, you'll see duping delight throughout this video.
But at night, when I close my eyes, I can see Christy reaching her hand out to me while I'm driving, and the blood just keep coming out of her mouth. And that, maybe it'll fade too with time, but I don't think so. That haunts me the most.
What he was saying was true, and I said, "I believe you." Who are they? And
What happened?
Well, a call came in Tuesday morning about 6:45 in the morning, and it was Mark. He spoke first to my sister-in-law, Mark's Aunt Kathy. He did not mention that that they had hatched a plan to try to get into the cockpit to avert and thwart these men. I'm hoping that the conversation was interrupted so that he could go about doing that, and not that the assailants were attacking him right after I spoke to him. he spoke to me in a very controlled and calm voice, but I could tell he was under a great deal of duress.
Well, you must be very proud of him. And I just want to ask you, you know, Hemingway once said, the great author, that courage is grace under pressure. And I guess your son had that.
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, he was a big fan of Ernest Hemingway. He went and ran with the bulls in Pamplona in July, and was very proud to have located the bar where Hemingway hung out and made famous in the little town of Pamplona. He and his buddies went back there and ran with the bulls the first day. They weren't satisfied because they hadn't been gored, so they went back the second day, ran again. This time he did get some satisfaction. He was swept up and carried along for a good many yards on the horns of a bull who gored him a little, mostly grabbed him in the hoof and threw him around, and his buddies came running up afterwards. It was an eloquent speech. I applauded every word. Barack Obama has been a real friend to the 9/11 families, and George W. Bush deserves a great deal of credit. He promised the 9/11 families that he would not relent in his effort to find the perpetrators of the bloodshed of 9/11.
Your reaction when you heard the news about Osama bin Laden?
Well, it was disbelief mingled with hope. Well, I think it is a point in time of which the American people can be very proud, which we can take stock and realize how very valuable our intelligence community and our military are. It is the culmination of effort, a good effort by a combined intelligence community and our military, and it has really paid off, all those months of intelligence gathering.
Is it important to you, and I know it is to some, to see an actual picture of bin Laden's body to verify for yourself that in fact he is dead?
I'll take their word for it. I trust them implicitly. His fellow passengers, Tom Burnett, Jeremy Glick, Todd Beamer, and Richard Guadagno, and that little group of guys in the back of a pitching 757 that took a vote and decided that they were going to run forward armed with nothing more than their fists and whatever they could find on board to fight real evil.
Would you have liked to have seen Osama bin Laden stand trial?
Well, I would like to have seen Osama bin Laden stand trial. However, I have lost faith to some extent in our what they call Article 3 courts, or in other words civilian courts. We seem to have gotten bogged down in the details, and certain liberal groups following their own agenda have taken the essence of the 9/11 struggle out of the hands of the families, and that is a travesty. That you really do need to consider a theory before you take it to your bosom. And folks, you're being sold a bill of goods here.
Is it important to you, and I know it is to some, to see an actual picture of bin Laden's body to verify for yourself that in fact he is dead?
I'll take their word for it. I trust them implicitly. And I've come to the conclusion that you really can't talk to those folks. You cannot reason with them because they are so invested in the crazy story that they've gotten a hold of like a Rottweiler and bitten it and chewed it until it became a really bloody big lie. Just think of them as mental patients. So that's what I do with conspiracy theorists. They're off their rockers.
Maybe it'll fade too with time, but I don't think so. That haunts me the most.